Brad Swanson, Director of Commercial Sales for Unilock Midwest. Today I want to take a few minutes to talk about our paver finishes for our architectural shapes and give you a better idea what options are available to you. Now, one of the biggest trends that I'm noticing is that designers come to us, they're looking for bold, new, fresh, unique options for their designs, and they're really good about figuring out what shapes they want to use, whether it's a square, rectangle, or plank. Many times they already know the laying pattern, and generally they have an idea of what color range they're looking for, but they're just not sure about what finish is going to work best for their project. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. The first thing I want to point out here is on the right you have your classic through mix finish. This is an extremely durable product. It's just like it sounds, that the aggregates go from the base all the way through the surface for the through mix. And as these weather and wear over time, they might start to look a little bit discolored or lighten up over time. But again, they're still very durable. You just need to know that they're going to change in appearance through the life of the product. But again, extremely durable. Now the options on the left here, these 8 options, these are our EnduraColor face mix finishes. And you'll notice that they all have very unique looking characteristics about them. And we'll talk about those in a few minutes. I do want to mention that with these 8, the Smooth Premier and the Flagstone Premier are basically the same face mix EnduraColor finish, just with the Flagstone there is that Flagstone print in there. But again, very unique, and we'll go over these here in a few minutes. Now, the first thing I want to mention about all our products, whether it's a classic through mix or these EnduraColor face mix, these are all dry cast concrete mixes. So there's just enough water in the mix to get it to cure and harden up. Now when we do the face mix products, we pour the base in, which is very similar to the classic through mix. Then we'll pour the face mix on top, the EnduraColor face mix, and then these will actually be pressed and vibrated together, so that they're actually done on the wet side, and those 2 different pours will actually cure together as one solid unit. So you're not going to have a worry that these are going to delaminate or have that face pop off. It's going to be one solid product, which is great. Generally that face mix is about 1 centimeter thick, or about 3/8 of an inch or so, plus or minus. You'll notice right away in this snapshot the classic through mix on the left and the Premier face mix on the right, the EnduraColor face mix. And you can see that contrast of the difference. So the Smooth Premier, definitely has a more crisp look, whereas the classic through mix still looks nice, but you can see those aggregates on the surface. So when you're using different colors like charcoals and reds and browns, and you have a white aggregate in the surface there, when that color pigment wears off those aggregates, it might start to look discolored or faded. Now, for the finishes I'm going to talk about, I'm really looking at our EnduraColor face mixes for our dry cast materials. I'm not going to talk about the wet cast, but in this photo here you see the 4 images at the bottom: the Quartzstone, the Town Hall, the Copthorne, and the Richcliffe. Those are all wet cast materials. Those are made a little bit different, but they also have an EnduraColor face mix due to the manufacturing process, or we actually have designed it so that it is very similar to that 2-pour face mix. Now I want to go over these different options, but I'm going to focus on just 5 finishes today, and these are the most commonly used for commercial applications. I also think it gives you the biggest range of options that you need for a lot of these projects, and not that there's anything wrong with those other options. I just want to focus on these 5 to make it a little bit easier to understand what's out there. And these have the biggest difference in terms of the technology that goes into them and the general appearance of those products. So come on over with me to my layout table, and we'll talk about these to give you a better idea what they look like in 3 dimensions versus just on the screen. So come on over. Okay, here we are at my layout table, and I just want to talk briefly about these different finish options. But I first want to mention that I chose these 5 finishes because we had them all in the same shape. This is part of the Artline Random Bundle. This is one of the shapes in that, and this is the 5-inch by 11-inch long. These are actually 2 3/4 inches thick, so that gives you an idea of the scale of the finishes on these. Now, I do want to mention these are all EnduraColor face mix finishes. Just want to make sure we understand that. These are all extremely durable and color fast. They're not going to fade over time. These aren't going to, the face isn't going to pop off or delaminate. It's a very strong product.
And then these are all slip resistant and accessible, so you don't have to worry about any kind of trip hazards with these finishes. You know, a couple of them do jump out as being a little bit more slip resistant, so I'll mention that as well. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is the 𝐸𝐸 here on the left. So the 𝐸𝐸 has a modeled surface that's achieved with our color fusion technology that randomly disperses those granite particles across the surface. So you're never going to see two that are the same. It always creates a natural modern look. It doesn't read as a concrete paver in the landscape because of that finish. And 𝐸𝐸 is also factory sealed with our 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞 technology. And in this case with 𝐸𝐸, it's integral to that face mix. So it's embedded in that material. So as this weathers and wears, you don't have to worry about going out there and resealing it. It's always going to be there. And it doesn't add any kind of additional sheen to it, so you don't have to worry about any kind of slip resistance on that surface. Now the second option I want to talk about is the series exposed granite. So what really is cool about the series is that as this weather and wears over time, you're actually going to expose more of the granite on the surface, and it's always going to continue to have a nice sparkle to it. It's going to weather very well and never change. Now, most of the color is controlled by the granite, but we can also put color in the paste here, and that can kind of change the color a little bit as well, so keep that in mind. It does have a nice profile to it, so you know it's not going to be slip resistant. This I would consider kind of a medium aggregate size. We do make some that are a little bit finer and some that are a little bit more chunky, larger aggregates to kind of give it more of a bolder industrial kind of look to it. Now the middle option here, this is the Alcampo brush finish. So we have these etched surfaces, or the etched lines across the surface that kind of gives it that broom finish. And these will reflect light in a different way. So as you kind of move around that space, you'll see it kind of change a little bit in terms of the color and how that light bounces off the surface. And I kind of it kind of makes me feel like it's a little bit more inviting and softer because of those brush marks. But the other cool thing is we can make these either in blends or in solid colors. So you have a lot of different options with that. And because of those etched surfaces, those broom marks on the surface, very slip resistant products. So great for areas where you might have inclines or concerns about you know, winter freeze and things like that. Now the fourth option here, this is the granito finish. This is a very unique, you know, bold, mottled kind of color look. That's achieved with our 𝐸𝐸 color technology. And this also can be factory sealed, so you don't have to worry about this weathering or wearing. And it kind of gives you a granite kind of flame feel to it. I also like it because it gives you this appearance that there's some depth to the surface. So when you see this on grade as you walk across it, it definitely gives some depth to it, which is nice. And then the last option over here on the right, this is our Premier Smooth Finish. And this again is an EnduraColor product that can be either done in a modeled, you know, blended color or a solid color as well. I like it because it definitely is color fast, is rich, you know, a bold color. Plus it seems very pristine and crisp with that modern look. It's also the most economical of the 5 options here, so it really can fit any kind of project type. So that's another great thing about that. So with any of these products, we can make them on all these different shapes that we offer, including our printable shapes as well. So let's go back over to the presentation and finish up.
Alright, I'm back from my layout table. I think it was good to see those in real time or in 3 dimensions so you get a better feel for what those finishes look like. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me about those. I'd be happy to help out. The other thing I want to mention is that we have a lot of different shapes for these products, so keep that in mind. All the EnduraColor face mix finishes can be applied to most of these shapes. I won't say all, but almost all of these shapes here. And we also have other shapes that are available that may not show up on our catalog, so keep that in mind as well. You should always reach out to your rep when you're working on stuff that you're going to have unique options for. The other thing I want to mention that with all these different shapes, we have different thicknesses. The thickness is going to be critical in terms of your installation. So those are ranged from 5 centimeter, which is 2 inches thick, all the way up to 15 centimeter, which is 6 inches thick. Most of our product line is going to be in that 7 centimeter thickness for a lot of the shapes. So that's the most economical. It also works for a lot of the vehicular areas, depending on the thickness. Sometimes you might want to go to 8 centimeter or 10 centimeter if it's going to be a plank or it's going to really have heavy duty traffic. So we can work through those details some other time, but I just kind of want to mention that. The other thing to keep in mind, feel free to reach out to me at brad.swanson@unilock.com if you have any questions. You can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I tend to post a lot on LinkedIn, not as much as on Instagram, but thanks for your time, and we'll catch you later.